Welcome to Bridge Watch. I'm Corey Ranslem with Dryad Global.
I'm Corey Ranslem with Dryad Global. Welcome to this week's episode of Bridge Watch. Today, we are going to talk about staying ahead of emerging threats. Now, if we take a look at the maritime industry, there are a number of different things happening globally that we would consider emerging threats, and want to talk about just kind of three main areas. So broadly, in general terms, you can take a look at weather. There are potentially emerging threats with weather, and sometimes emergency threats with weather. You can look at migrant movements and maritime security with a number of emerging threats in those areas. Also, cybersecurity and how we protect our critical shipboard systems from emerging threats. Risk intelligence, how we look at the global picture of what's happening geopolitically and how that can give rise to emerging threats. So let's dig into kind of three areas that will be key to us here in the maritime industry. The first one, and a topic that's very popular, if you've checked out some of our past episodes, we talk about cybersecurity on this vlog quite a bit. There are a number of emerging and new threats that are happening in cybersecurity on a daily basis. What we see happening against governments and the financial institutions and the healthcare industry and against business in general also eventually move into the maritime industry. It's interesting to see that we can get a good litmus test from a cybersecurity perspective, emerging threats in other industries before they make their way to maritime. However, as we mature as an industry and rely on more computer systems, whether it's engine control systems, navigation systems, crew management systems, whatever that may be, we're going to see emerging threats start to hit our industry at the same level and frequency as they do in other industries like the financial industry or government, military, and healthcare. As an example of an emerging threat in cybersecurity would be what we call a zero-day threat, or a threat that hasn't been seen before that pops up out of nowhere. We also see emerging threats when it comes to what the hackers do in certain situations to be able to make money. So a few years ago, we were seeing denial of service attacks and other types of attacks against our networks. Now we're seeing almost 90% to 95% of the time we're seeing attacks taking place that are ransomware attacks, where someone will come in, take control of your website, your critical systems, siphon off your data, and then ask you to pay in Bitcoin. That's become very popular, and we've seen that broadly across the maritime industry, and it's still a threat that continues to emerge and evolve. So again, more on that in a future episode. The second thing we want to talk about when it comes to emerging threats is when we look at risk intelligence and how that plays into our maritime environment. Political instability and political issues happening on ocean-based countries that are happening on the land side immediately affect what happens on the ocean side. And so we can see emerging threats building out of that. When there's hostilities, we've seen it. If you are a subscriber and watch our MSTA videos that come out at the beginning of the week, a few weeks ago we talked about the issue between Iran and Greece, where the Greeks had seized an Iranian tanker and then the Iranian seized Greek tanker. Well, based on those kind of political issues, that would be considered as an emerging threat, whether you're Greece or Iran. So there are issues that happen constantly from the geopolitics on land that float out, pun intended, into the ocean side, and we can really get a good idea through our analyzed intelligence of what some of those potential threats may be. And these may be in stable or unstable parts of the world. A strike in a very large port could be an emerging threat to shipping and your cargo operations. So those are just some examples. We could probably talk for hours from the risk intelligence perspective of emerging threats. The third area that we want to talk about, which really doesn't get talked about a lot, are emerging threats in weather. We see, and as we've talked to our insurance partners and companies around the world, we see one of the largest claim payouts is due to threats from weather, whether it's microbursts, tropical systems, whatever that may be. There are almost zero-day emerging threats that happen due to weather. So the better informed we are, the better that we understand kind of the global weather picture, the better informed we are that we can protect our assets from weather. If there's an earthquake, that could create a tsunami. That would be an emerging weather threat. A tropical storm obviously is a weather threat, but that tropical storm, even though it may not be coming over top of you, could still cause an emerging threat to you because of wind, seas, or potential flooding. So if you look at it, there's a number of emerging threats within weather that we want to be informed of and protect ourselves. So how do we do that? There are solutions out there on the market that you can look at individually to take a look at each one of these threats. Here at Dryad Global, we provide a suite of solutions that cover not only these emerging threats, but a number of emerging threats across the board. We have specific and targeted port and region and risk and threat analysis that we can provide to companies. We also have our ARM software platform. So we have a Shipboard platform to provide you real-time information on these emerging threats. We have a phenomenal fleet manager where you can track your fleet and you can see all of these emerging threats globally. And then we also have a suite of cybersecurity services specifically for vessels. Now the cyber is pretty unique because it does two things for you. Number one, helps you with maritime regulatory compliance if you have IMO 2021 requirements, but it can also protect your vessel and your critical assets on board that vessel from any emerging threats that could be possible against your vessel. Thanks for tuning in today. We really appreciate you joining us. Make sure you join us for our MSTAs that I mentioned earlier. Those are launched at the beginning of the week, and then every Thursday for Bridge Watch, our vlog series. I'm Corey Ranslem with Dryad Global.
Hey, thanks for joining us on our weekly vlog today. We really appreciate all of our viewers. Make sure you connect to us through our social media detailed in the comments section below. Also, make sure you sign up on our website. We have a ton of free content when it comes to maritime security, threat assessments, and risk intelligence. Also, join the conversation. We want to hear from you as we improve our vlog and our topics each week. So make sure you connect to us and join the conversation.